Hello urban farmers, and welcome to another episode. Now in this episode I just went to the shops, bought myself a plum tree, so it's going to replace this dead tree here, which I believe was a lemon. Yes, it was a lemon. And I suppose the reason why this tree died was because I put a lot of lime in this area. Someone told me to. This was well before I knew pretty much anything about gardening, so this particular area doesn't have a lot of, so it's basically the soil is not acidic, and that's why a lot of acid loving plants are not going to like this soil. And I've got a couple of other acid loving plants, like an orange, actually two oranges and the mandarin or something at the end, but this looks like the area that actually suffered the most. Okay, so the apple tree that I actually bought was the, it's called the red flesh apple. It's a new variety. They say that it's easy to grow and it's a dwarf tree. Now, when we say that it's a dwarf tree, it's not going to go 10 meters high, and I'll tell you how far this one will go. So this particular apple basically loves full sun. The good thing is that this particular area here is mostly full sun except in the afternoons, which will be fine. It goes to 1.5 to 2 meters in width. It can grow in containers if you wanted to. Because I've got space here, I'm just going to put it into the soil, but you could grow this in containers. And it goes to 2 to 2.5 meters in height, and that's where the dwarfness sort of comes in. It's not going to grow 10 or 12 meters or 15 in the air, like say my plum tree that was just next to me. Cross-pollination required, so that means that this apple tree needs a different type of apple tree to pollinate itself, which is okay, I think, because I've got an apple tree in the front. Actually, I've got a three-way grafted apple tree at the front, so that should be okay. And they say initially you should stake it, pretty much what I've the little bamboo that they've put here is pretty much going to just keep it upright. Otherwise, with a strong wind, it's just going to fold it and it's going to break. So what do they say? So they say rich burgundy foliage is complemented by powerful pink spring blossom, producing apples that are tart, juicy, and distinctly red-skinned and red-fleshed. So red love does not brown when you cut or cook, making it ideal for creative cooking. Try making red love into applesauce, pies, cocktails, or juice. So I can see quite a lot of uses. I don't know if it's going, only because it's fruited this year, or now when I bought it, doesn't mean it's actually going to produce anything. Although I'm not going to take the flowers off, which they recommend when you plant a new tree, that you take the flowers off, so the tree focuses in spreading the roots rather than trying to grow apples and stuff. But because we're going to manure this area quite well, it's going to have enough nutrients to do that if it really wanted to. So they've got a couple of other points here. They say it's striking burgundy foliage and pink spring blossom with contrast dark bark, hardy tree and easy to grow, which is good because that's exactly what we want. We don't want to spend a lot of time doing this. And then eye-catching deep red skin and flesh. I really want to see that because I get a feeling that it'll be like those red plums, you know, the ones that you cut open and they're completely red inside, only it's going to be apples. So mid to late February harvest. So I suppose if, you know, sort of we're talking about end of summer, start of autumn here in Melbourne. So there's quite a few uses. So you got juicing, pies, platters, cocktails, fruit salads, eat it fresh, whatever. Pollinators, they've got most apples Granny Smith Pink Lady recommended. It's pretty much what I have at the front yard, so that'll be good. So black spot and powdery mildew resistance. So I'm hoping I'm not going to have to spray it with stuff, and it's going to be quite hardy. So it looks like this one here has been grown by Balhana Nurseries. I'm not too sure where that is, but It says since 1887, so there you go. They say that this particular apple, when I bought it, they said that on this little advertisement that it came from Switzerland, and that's where they crafted the apple. They must have cross-pollinated the apple with various other apples, obviously, to get the type that they have. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see, putting it in and how we go. So I plan on digging a hole just a little bit bigger than the pot itself and wider. So what I'll do is I won't just put normal soil in. I'll put compost soil, which I actually purchased as well, and then I'll also put some manure pellets around that as well, so just to give it that extra boost while it's still young. Even though some people recommend not to do that, because they say if you provide a lot of food around the roots when you plant it, it's not going to spread roots and try and sort of spread itself out to find water, food and so forth. I don't really care, because I've got like 7 trees in this small area, so I'll probably be putting down manure, mulch and all that sort of stuff on a regular basis, so I'm not too fussed about that sort of stuff, to be honest. So I'll be doing that anyway, and over time it'll spread its own roots, just to sort of find food and a bit of water and stuff like that. And the fact that I've got mulch here is going to help greatly with that water retention and all that sort of stuff. And it certainly helped last year. 3 or 4 days without ants all over me. 3 or 4 days without water was no problem at all. Or even a week, I could still dig 5 centimeters in, and it would the soil itself would be moist. So it's make sure that you mulch if you're going to plant anything like this. It's worthwhile, and if you get some really hard heat, you won't have to water every night essentially. Anyway, I'll plant this into the ground and then show you how that looks like. Okay, now that we've dug the hole, what I'll do next is just fill it up with water from the degree, make it nice and wet. Then we're going to put some compost, lay some compost down, then the tree on top of that, and then we'll put some pellets on top of that, and the pellets will serve as nutrition for the plant. So next we'll put some compost down. Then we'll take our tree out, and the tree, so we'll just roughen up these sides a bit, just so these roots know that they've been disturbed ever so slightly, and then we'll put that down like that. So once we've done this is what I was talking about. And then now what we'll do is just put compost all around the tree. And then we can mix it up within the soil that we already have. So basically, now we have planted our tree. We'll water it some more. Okay.